"Fix this engine and I'll marry you," mocked the CEO with a cold laugh, his words echoing in the company's massive boardroom. Everyone laughed along with him, except one man, a quiet janitor named Daniel, who was busy mopping the floor in the corner. Nobody noticed the way his eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in a calm, silent fire that burned deep inside him. They didn't know his past. They didn't know his story. And in just a few minutes, they would. The CEO, Adrian Blackwood, was one of those men who seemed untouchable. Sharp suit, perfect hair, a smirk that made others feel small. He stood beside the broken prototype engine that a dozen of his top consultants had failed to fix. It was supposed to be the future of his company, the crown jewel of his empire, yet it sat on the table lifeless. Everyone in the room looked embarrassed, powerless, waiting for Adrian's next explosion of rage. But Adrian didn't just get angry, he liked to humiliate. And this time, his cruel humor turned toward the shy, kind-hearted woman sitting among the engineers. Her name was Emily, a junior mechanic who had dared to suggest that maybe the engine's failure wasn't impossible to solve. Adrian smirked at her boldness, leaned forward, and dropped his mocking line like a knife in her chest, "Fix this engine and I'll marry you." The room erupted in laughter, but Emily's face turned red. She wasn't after his hand in marriage, she just wanted respect, recognition for her ideas, for her hard work. Instead, she was being made into a joke. Her eyes fell to the table, fighting tears. That's when a quiet voice broke the moment. "I can fix it." The room went silent. Heads turned, eyebrows lifted, as they realized who had spoken. It wasn't one of the high-paid engineers, not Emily, not even a consultant. It was Daniel, the janitor. His mop rested against the wall now, his calloused hands wiping on his worn-out uniform. His voice wasn't cocky, but steady. "Certain." The silence shattered with laughter. Some covered their mouths, some didn't even bother. "The janitor," one man sneered. "You're joking, right?" Another engineer chuckled, "This thing is so complex even our best minds can't fix it." "You think a man with a mop can?" But Daniel didn't flinch. He walked closer, his eyes fixed on the engine. For the first time, Adrian stopped laughing. Something about Daniel's calm unnerved him. "You?" Adrian scoffed. "You think you're smarter than my entire team?" "No," Daniel said simply. "But I know engines. And I know this one isn't dead, it's just misunderstood." A ripple of disbelief moved across the room. Adrian smirked, waving his hand mockingly. "Fine. Impress me. Fix it. If you fail, you'll be fired before the mop hits the bucket." Emily's head shot up in alarm. She didn't know why, but she believed him. The way he spoke, the quiet confidence, it wasn't arrogance. It was knowledge. Still, her heart raced as she watched him step up to the table.
Daniel rolled up his sleeves, exposing arms that looked more like they belonged to a mechanic than a janitor. He studied the engine in silence, his fingers running over wires and bolts as if he were reading Braille. His mind slipped back to another life, before he was a janitor, before life fell apart. Years ago, he had been one of the best mechanical engineers in the country, working for a company that abandoned him after a tragic accident took his wife and daughter. Grief had swallowed his career. He walked away from it all, finding solace in quiet, unnoticed work. But the knowledge never left him. Now, standing in a room full of doubters, that buried fire stirred again. Minutes passed. People began to whisper. "He's wasting time. This is ridiculous." But then a spark. Literally. Daniel adjusted a few wires, reconfigured a piece the engineers had overlooked, and pressed the ignition. The engine coughed. Then roared. The sound filled the room like thunder. The once dead machine came alive, humming with perfect rhythm. Every head turned, jaws dropped, eyes wide. The impossible had been done, not by the CEO, not by the consultants, not even by the engineers. But by the janitor they had mocked, Emily gasped, her hand flying to her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. She wasn't just amazed, she was relieved, vindicated, because in Daniel's victory, she saw proof that truth and skill matter more than titles. Adrian's face was pale. For once, the man who always had a smirk had no words. The room was silent except for the beautiful hum of the engine. Then Daniel looked up, his voice calm. Engines are like people. They don't fail because they're broken, they fail because no one listens to what they need. Those words cut deeper than any insult. Everyone in the room knew they had just witnessed something more than a repair. They had witnessed a man's quiet greatness revealed. Adrian tried to laugh it off, but the tremble in his voice betrayed him. Well, congratulations. I suppose I owe you something.